So you want to know something? I've done a video of this before. I have, but I just genuinely detest. Um, I genuinely detest the public domain horror movies. I do. For the life of me, I just hate them. I absolutely 100% just openly despise them. I have tried to watch them. They are not good. The only one that I have liked is Screamboat, because that one actually had heart to it. The Mean one too, but that one's really not in public domain horror. Um, it's more parody horror, but that's neither here nor there. So aside from Screamboat, and of course I have openly detest the Poonaverse. And you know what I've really come to hate more than any of these other ones, even more than the Poonaverse? Um, yeah, you want to know? You want to know? You really want to know what I have come to really hate outside of the Poonaverse? The Popeye horror movies. Yeah, all of them. Popeye the Slayer Man, or whatever you call them. I hate them all. I have not watched any of them, and you're probably going to say, "Oh, but if you don't watch them, how do you know if you don't like them?" Because I refuse to watch them. If you like them, that's fine. Like, I'll say that I will say that again. If you like those movies, if you like any of these in public domain horror movies, or if you like any of these in public, like Popeye or whatever, um, so uh, yeah, if you like them, that's fine. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, if you like them, that's 100% totally fine. Me personally, I'm never gonna watch a Popeye horror movie just flat out. I don't care if they're on Tubi and I can watch them for free. It don't matter. Does not matter. I am not gonna watch them. And you may be thinking, well, again, why don't you try it, Multi? Like, what if you do end up liking them and you're just kind of limiting yourself? Well, as I said before in a video about a year or so ago, I have come to really despise the in public domain horror scene because it's creatively stifling a whole cast of creativity that you could be doing with these characters. You are basically, like, I blame the Poonaverse for this in public domain horror craze, because it's low budget and everyone's going to watch them. But you are creatively stifle. It is creatively stifling to people who would love to do things with these characters. We are about a decade away. I know that seems long, but in the finite of time, that's not really. We are like 11 years away from Superman and Batman getting into the public domain. We are only a few years from Pluto and Goofy getting into the in public domain. And next year is Betty Boop. Yeah, she's going to be public domain. I forget that. In 2027, we've got some bangers, and yeah. Yeah. But because of this in public domain horror scene, it is creatively cut off, I feel like. It is creatively cut off a whole plethora of creativity we could be doing with these movies. Even if they're low budget, even if they're bad, you could still do something interesting with them with these kind of effects. I mean, Popeye is the prime example of this. Popeye is, like, again, he is the prime example of what you could be doing with this, because Popeye is a phenomenal character. I know, and I know what you're going to say. Oh, but no one remembers Popeye. Yeah, this is a good way to bring Popeye back into the zeitgeist without needing, to be to have, you can have your own creative spin on the character and do something phenomenal with him. You could make him you could have Popeye fight Cthulhu, like Popeye goes to Innsmouth and fights Dagon or something, or you could have Popeye, I have always wanted to do like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure story with Popeye, like the Bizarre Voyages of Popeye or something. There's so much you could do with the character. He's a sailor who gets super strong and by eating spinach. Have fun with that. But the problem is that no one wants to do that. and it kind of tarnishes these characters' legacy, I feel like. Not to say you can't do a horror spin with these characters. You totally could. But no one's making them, outside of a few of these films, no one's making them interesting. And especially from what I've seen, the Popeye ones are especially disinteresting. And I also have some personal bias. I have some very personal bias about this matter as well, which has also prevented me personally from wanting to watch any of these Popeye horror movies. And that's because I kind of grew up as a kid on Popeye. You know, Cartoon Network would play, like, as a kid, back in the 90s, as a kid, you would see Popeye in the morning, like, with Looney Tunes and all that. And they'd also have, like, Boomerang, which would play Popeye and all of that. But there's a bit more to it than that, than just having some nostalgia goggles to it of why I feel so viciously against these Popeye films. Because when I was a kid, I would stay with my great-grandparents a lot. And in the mornings or lunchtime, we would basically be sat and eating lunch or dinner, and my great-grandmother would serve spinach in a lot of her food. And my great-grandfather would always play Popeye, and he would play Popeye a lot. Like, he would make sure we'd be watching that cartoon in the morning. And he would always say, like, you gotta, come on, kid, you gotta eat your spinach and be big and strong like Popeye. And that's why I never really had a problem. I was never one of those kids who had a problem eating vegetables as a kid. I never understood that. But yeah, and I know this is not like a personal attack. I'm well aware this is not a personal attack on me from the creators. I'm well aware this is a personal thing. And I know this is not a malicious attack by creators or staff or writers of these films. But my personal view is, that hurts my, when you do that with Popeye, you kind of hurt it. Like, it makes me feel sad because my great-grandfather, if he was still here, he would never want to see this. He would be, what have you, because he always loved Popeye. So he's like, what have you done to Popeye? Like, why is he never hurt people like that, So that's kind of my real personal reason. When it gets down to it, is that it's really uncomfortable for me personally. But I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. But that's just me. But I don't know. I have to stress, if you like these films, that's totally fine. I just have no wherewithal or care to watch them for my personal reasons. And again, it also goes back to the creative part, or the creative stifling part. So, I don't know. I just thought, I don't know why I did this. I just had an urge. I don't know.